Cartography is the art, science, and technology of making maps. Maps are often considered works of art. Here we will discuss the cartographic process and the fundamentals of good map design. Cartographers use this cartographic process to create maps that communicate spatial information clearly and effectively. Looking briefly at this process, first, think about the distribution of the phenomenon you want to map and what it might look like. Then decide on the purpose of the map and the intended audience. Ask yourself, who will be looking at this map, and what information do I want it to convey? Then collect your data. Make sure it's appropriate for the purpose of the map. Design and construct the map using cartographic principles to display the data appropriately. And the final step is to determine if the map reader will understand the map content. This is when you might show a map to a colleague or a friend to make sure that the purpose of the map is well understood by any map reader. A high-quality GIS can be used to design and produce beautiful maps that accurately communicate important information. However, GIS can also be used to make extremely bad maps that misinform, introduce propaganda, and even lie. It's very easy for an amateur to make these types of mistakes, and it's important to understand the basics of map design so your final product will efficiently communicate the data to your users. Good map design is learned. It's not inherent. While this is a skill that almost anyone can learn, it really requires years and years of practice. If you look at the examples here, both are showing the exact same geographic area and the exact same information. However, it's a lot easier to understand what the map is trying to convey after careful design. This is a list of map elements that are found on virtually all maps. Here at UWF, we like to call them the essential map elements. Some are fairly self-explanatory. A map title tells your audience what they are looking at or what they can expect to learn from your map. The border or neat line keeps everything organized, the border delineating and defining the extent of the geographic data on your map. The date lets us know when the map was made in case you have multiple versions of the map, or you can know when the information can be considered out of date. The data source. People who are using your map need to know where your data came from. Cartographer name. For the purposes of this course, having your name on the map helps me know who the map belongs to when I'm grading. Some companies have rules regarding whether your name can appear on a map. If so, a company logo may be a good substitute. Some kind of indicator of who owns the map is just good cartographic practice. Scale bar. There are multiple ways to communicate scale. A traditional scale bar is probably your best bet if your map will ever be reduced or enlarged. The scale bar will automatically reduce or enlarge as the map is copied. A good rule of thumb is to keep the scale bar minimal and keep the units relevant. Units should be easily measured and easily understood by your map audience. Where possible, make sure to include round numbers. If you look at the scale bars in this example, all of them include round numbers that are easily consumable by a map reading audience. Legends show how data is organized and symbolized. The size and placement of your legend is also very important, and an infinite number of legends may be produced. Items under the legend could be ordered and can be put in different fashion depending on your personal style and the purpose of the map. Legends can be a lot of fun. Just make sure that your legend is clear and simple for your users to understand. Do you know what to leave out of your legend? Nothing. If the layer is on your map, it should be in the legend. And finally, north arrows. It's good practice to include a north arrow in all your maps. A north arrow allows your audience to self-orient when they look at the map. Some are very simple, only showing true north. Others can also show magnetic north. Be careful with your placement of north arrows, as it is not necessary to draw attention to this element. Remember, we want our audience to understand the purpose of our map. Their attention should be drawn to the map itself. When we talk about maps, we use some basic terminology about their qualities and characteristics. Page orientation can either be portrait or landscape, depending on the geographical area of the map. Experiment with both of these to determine the most appropriate page orientation for your specific map. Typography is the font, size, color, and style of the text on your map. You should always keep your audience in mind when choosing your font size and your font type. It's a good practice to keep your font type the same throughout the entire map to create continuity. Make sure your audience can read the text on your map. If it's too small, it will not be useful, and it will be difficult to convey any message to your audience. It's also really important to keep in mind both the type of data you're using and the measurement of your data when you're determining symbolization elements on your map. Make sure your map design reflects the theme or topic of your map, your audience, the type of data you are using, and the measurement of your data. We will go into more detail about spatial data and how it is measured next week, but for now, just remember that different factors play a part in your map design choices. Proper symbology is an important facet of good map design. Point features may be symbolized and mapped using point symbols, or colors, or a combination of both. Linear features may be symbolized and mapped using a variety of simple graduated mapping. Your selections can either make or break your map. Special attention should be paid to symbolizing area data. Whether it is land cover, soils, elevation, or political or administrative boundaries, the way it is symbolized can impact the way the map user interprets the data. Grids are either displayed on the map using graticule lines or projection information is provided on the map. Metadata tells us data about the data. Where it came from, its quality, how it was collected, spatial reference information, and additional descriptive information, including the latency or temporal nature of the data. While it may not be displayed on your printed map, it is critical to your map's success. Look at your metadata when making map design decisions. By knowing when the data was collected, how it was collected, and the type of data, you can ensure that you are representing the information correctly and as it was intended by its creator. Metadata should be shared freely to those who ask for it. If you share a map document, the metadata for any layers in the document should be shared as well. Above all else, own your map. Think of your final product as art. You have a personal style, you have preferences, and you are unique. Explore and be creative with the cartographic options that are available to you. The opportunity for design is limited only by your imagination. This concludes the Week 2 presentation on map basics and cartography. Please be sure to participate in our discussion of map design, and I hope you enjoy the lab and text exercises that we have picked out for you this week. You'll be able to put many of these concepts into practice, and I look forward to seeing everyone's personal style shine through.